play to win the game.
Somebody wins, somebody loses.
This is why you hired me.
Welcome, Karma Nation, to the Sports Desk, the podcast headquarters for Bet Karma's NFL model sportfolios, empowering you to be a better better. I'm your host, Brett Matthew, lead strategist for Bet Karma's NFL model sportfolios. My co-host and fellow lead strategist, Zach James. Before we jump into today's topic, I just want to introduce you a little bit more to Bet Karma's NFL model portfolios. So basically, this service doesn't care if you're purely a recreational bettor, a novice bettor, or a veteran, war-tested expert handicapper. Our three sportfolios across three different risk appetites, conservative, moderate, and aggressive, can help you diversify your approach to the NFL season. If you want to learn more, you can check out our note on the DFS Karma website titled Introducing Bet Karma's Model Sportfolios. Now that's all I'm going to talk to you about it for now, but we'll surely be releasing a future pod with more details to further whet your appetite for this service in the future.
Help me help you. Help me help you.
The first game of the season, we've got the Bears -3 against the Packers, their division rival. Rodgers versus Trubisky, Nagy versus LaFleur. We're going to dig in deep to see kind of what we're seeing from the offseason through this game. We're going to take you through it. And then tomorrow, halftime, we're going to live stream to see some updates of what's going on the line, what's in the marketplace, how are the teams performing, what matchups do we like, and see if there's any action to be had for the second half. Brett, what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, the line was 3.5, and actually was 4 over the summer, so it's obviously come down. So people are betting the Packers. What's the public? What's their perspective on this game?
It's pretty fairly split. We have 56% is on Green Bay right now, with 50% of the money. And then so it looks like there's a little more money coming on Chicago and relative to the bet percentage. So it's basically split down the middle for the most part. But then again, it's always tricky with week ones because a lot of these bets I think are cumulative over the course of the summer. So you might have had people betting Green Bay when it's +4, now it's +3, and now money's coming back on Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
and one of those things that we've talked about in the offseason that we don't want to do is be overly influenced by a half point.
I agree.
Because our final decisions should not come down to a half point.
No.
So if this was Green Bay +3.5, do you feel any better about it or any worse about it?
No, because honestly, I feel like this game it's going to be more than a 3-point final anyways. Probably a 4-point to 6-point final. So you're either picking Green Bay to win straight up or you're picking Chicago to win straight up. Now, obviously, having the points in a scenario like that is more ideal than not. But
extra bonus.
Yeah. So you have a little extra, Aaron Rodgers 3-point flair if you need it. If Green Bay goes down 10, like last year when they were down 3 touchdowns. So to me, it's Green Bay or nothing. I don't think you can even really flirt with Chicago, not in a SuperContest type pick. With a healthy Rodgers, Green Bay's defense should be a little more improved than last year. Chicago obviously is going to take a step back on defense because I don't know if they can get much better. They lose their defensive coordinator. And apparently Trubisky had a rough go at the training camp and, off-season workouts and all that. So I'm not buying Trubisky still. So to me, it's Green Bay or bust if you are going to consider it.
I agree. I can't take the Bears -3 in this in this opening game. I mean, kind of like what you've mentioned before too. That I mean, going into this game last year, they're plus 7.5 on the road.
Yeah, actually, I think they were plus 8.5 at one point.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
plus 7.5, 8.5. I mean, what's the difference?
Well, and the question to me is, how much better are the Bears this year compared to last year? I mean, are they actually a better team? And I would say probably not. Obviously, I like David.
I think they are. I think they're a better team.
I don't know.
I think they're a better team. I think they're a better team just because they have one. Last year was their first year under Nagy. Obviously, Trubisky was still only a second-year quarterback. I'm not saying Trubisky's going to be great, but the whole team has had a whole another year together. So I think that they're going to be better just by the consequence of having been together for a longer period of time and are more familiar with the scheming and just the familiarity with one another, the chemistry. And I think the Bears are definitely, and I don't know if they're going to be better win-wise because, I mean, they won 12 games last year. So, I mean, obviously that's going to be tough to beat. But, I think they are going to be just as good a team as last year. I mean, remember now, last year, I mean, the Bears lost some games that they definitely shouldn't have lost. I mean,
yeah, like the Dolphins
game.
Yeah.
So I mean, and obviously, I mean, they couldn't even beat, the Eagles in Chicago, in the playoffs. So obviously, they still have their weaknesses. It's not like they were super dominant last year. They had a great defense, but obviously the offense was by no means dominant.
Yeah, it seemed to me last year the offense sputtered down the stretch, which is why they got rid of Jordan Howard, brought in fresh legs and David Montgomery. It just seems to me the Bears know that their weakness is Mitchell Trubisky now, and they're going to do everything they can to disguise that as long as possible. They're going to run the ball more. They're going to rely heavily on their defense. Because I think in the beginning of last year they were cute. Their offense was very successful in a lot of ways. Because I don't think teams knew really what to expect from Matt Nagy's offense. But as the season wore on, they knew, well, take away Mitch Trubisky's first option and don't let them do any crazy sweeps or dump off passes to Tariq Cohen. And the Bears probably won't score many points. And I think you saw that throughout the end of the season last year. So moving on, though, let's real quick, I just want to touch on the total is 46, which implies the score is going to be 24.5 to 21.5. What do you think the score would be to see if there's value in taking an over-under?
Well, actually, now that I think about it, because, I mean, again, kind of during our offline discussions, I was thinking that, this total was going to be much higher than that. I would have kind of projected it in the 49, 50, 51 range, expecting a score of like 27 to 24, 27, 23, something along those lines. But at 46, my gosh, I mean, I think, possibly a play that we might put in our aggressive fund this week is a teaser of Packers +9 and actually teasing this lower and then taking the over. So, I mean, you tease this down to 40? I mean, I don't think this game is going to be 20 to 17 or 17 to 13. I think the game could definitely start off slow. You could have a 3-0, 7-0, or 0-0 first quarter. But I think, both teams will make halftime adjustments and, be a lot more fluid in the second half. I mean, we saw what happened in week 1 last year. The Packers were scoreless or near it. And then obviously Aaron Rodgers blew up, in the latter half of the third quarter and all of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm not projecting that the Packers are going to be down by 20 and then going to have to make a 20-point comeback. But I'm just saying I think the offenses are going to be more potent in the second half. And teasing this down to 40 and taking the Packers +9, I think that seems like a really attractive teaser.
Yeah, I would agree with that at the moment. Yeah, I think it's definitely worth considering as far as teasing it. And honestly, I would even consider teasing it up. But I think this number is right in the sweet spot I can't see this game being much more than 27-24, and probably can't see it much different than 20-21. So if you can get in that 40 to 51 point range, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I think it could go over too is because you have a good Bears defense. Like, even as many people think that they're going to regress, like it's still going to be a good defense. It's still going to be a top 5 defense, like if not the best defense still. And then obviously the Packers offense, I think, is going to be much better than it was last year. Coming off like one of the worst performances of Aaron Rodgers' career. 6 wins. Only 376 points they scored last year. The Bears scored 50 more points than them last year.
Wow.
Just to really show how inept the Packers offense was last year. But obviously I think that's going to be much better this year. And so you have a good Packers offense first, a good Bears defense, and then you have a questionable Bears offense versus a questionable Packers defense. And I think that, having all those factors together, that both teams will be able to score. But no, I think for the Super Contest purposes, I mean, obviously there's a lot of people betting the Bears to win the Super Bowl, a lot of Bears futures bettors. I mean, we're going through Twitter today, and just obviously the Bears fans are just obnoxious. I mean, I'm a Bears fan. I'm from Chicago, love the Bears, but I mean, I'm not delusional about the Bears. And just so many fans are predicting that the Bears are going to just crush the Packers by double digits, if not 2 or more touchdowns.
Yeah,
That's just.
I don't know where that's coming from, because I mean, Aaron Rodgers did have 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions on like one leg last year. And Aaron Rodgers historically has owned the Bears. I mean, that's, as long as I've watched Aaron Rodgers play football, I feel like he always finds a way to dominate the Bears in those optimal moments. That's why it's hard.
Yeah, and again, like in week 1, he did.
Yeah, he came.
I mean, and he came back and led the Packers back over the Bears, and that's even with him being omitted from about 2 or 3 drives.
Yeah,
because and not only during those 2 or 3 drives, I think it was either Kaiser or it was Hundley, some obviously ineffectual quarterback who was fumbling and just giving the Bears points.
Yeah. Well, and then the next week, when they thought Rodgers may not play because of his leg injury, the line opened, I think, Packers +9. And then as soon as it was released that he was going to play, the line dropped by 6, 7 points or what have you.
Yeah, and I think, when the Bears played the Packers again later in the season, Bears won, I think, by a touchdown or so. I mean, obviously, the motivation just wasn't there for the Packers as a team and for Aaron Rodgers as a player. I think there's very little takeaway from that game specifically. So I think, to your point, for the most part, I mean, Aaron Rodgers has owned the Bears. And, I think obviously with a new defensive coach, I think the defense is going to play different than it did last. So there's going to be, a little bit, some changes there that I think, that might not go as smooth as, as the Bears defense played last year. But, kind of like we mentioned, this is basically, if we take Packers +3 in the Super Contest, basically we're acknowledging that those 3 points aren't going to do anything for us, because it's either the Packers are just going to win or they're just going to lose by more than 3.
Yeah. It's basically what I mean, it's a straight up play, and it's a straight up play fading Trubisky, fading the defensive changes for the Bears, and playing on Matt LaFleur, and Packers coming in and Rodgers owning the Bears like he historically has. That's, to me, that's fundamentally just the play that we would be making if that was the case. Well, I mean, I do think Green Bay's defense is underrated, and the thing with the Packers this year is,
well, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, and LaFleur wants to run the ball, So, I mean, that's should take some pressure off Rodgers if Aaron Jones gets going. Because I don't think you can just beat the Bears just dropping back and throwing the ball the whole game. So, should be a more balanced Packer attack this year, at least to start.
Mm-hmm. I just don't know if I like betting LaFleur to beat Nagy in his first game.
Yeah, I agree. I don't. There's enough games on the slate this week that I think we like enough to not jump on the Packers for our Super Contest, though we probably will be making a play in the form of a teaser on this game.
Again, I'm Brett Matthew, lead strategist for Bet Karma's NFL models portfolios. Until the next podcast, signing off.